Hello, it's a warm welcome in our studios. This is Gttv News Bulletin with me, Aisat Kuli. In our top stories this evening, President Adam Barrow has discussed key areas with the Spanish Foreign Minister, who paid a courtesy call on him at the State House in Banjul. UNIDO and WAPCOM officials on Tuesday visited women gardeners in Fonyi to get first-hand information aimed at attaining food self-sufficiency. A senior official of the main opposition, United Democratic Party, has reaped into the Barrow leadership a failure while assuring that his party will unseat him in the upcoming 2026 presidential elections. Trouble for two Russian top army officers as the World Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for them over crimes against humanity. These are the top stories. Stay tuned for more news stories just after this commercial break. Welcome back. In case you're just tuning in, this is Gttv News Bulletin with me, Aisat Kuli. Spanish Foreign Minister Jorge Manuel Alvarez Benu was at the State House to pay a courtesy call on Gambian President Adama Barrow in Banjul. The two leaders discussed key areas including security, education, agriculture, tourism, economic cooperation. More on this report. His Excellency President Adama Barrow on Wednesday received in audience the Spanish Foreign Minister at the State House in Banjul. The top diplomat's visit was aimed at strengthening the existing bilateral relationship between the two countries on the side of security, education, agriculture, tourism, economic cooperation, among others. Speaking to the press after a closed-door meeting with the Gambian leader, Jose Manuel Alvarez told reporters that the Gambia and Spain shared a very important cooperation in various sectors of development.
Spain has a very important cooperation commitment with Gambia in different sectors. In the sector of education, with projects such as Colegio Lamin Canarias, which provides schooling for 120 boys and girls, or the health sectors, with several missions of surgeons in action, who since 2022 alone have operated more than 500 people.
He also highlighted their contribution and support to young people of the Gambia, especially women, in vocational education and vegetable gardening. During his visit, Minister Alvarez is expected to lead negotiations in signing several agreements, such as the circular migration and security agreements with the Gambian government.
During this visit, I also want to give new impetus to the negotiation for circular migration agreements with Gambia, and also for the signing of the security and anti-crime agreement. Spain is firmly committed to safe, regular, and humane migration, and to the fight against any human trafficking mafias. Today I will visit also the Guardia Civil contingent in the port of Banjul and the national police forces working in the country, which are a proof of the excellent cooperation that both Spain and Gambia we have in this area.
Aisat Kuli, Gambian Talents TV News. On Tuesday, officials of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization visited women gardeners in Fonyi Berfet. The visit was aimed to avail journalists an opportunity to tour the facility and interact with the women beneficiaries, government stakeholders, the EU, and the project team. More on this report. In their quest in enhancing horticultural value chain through quality infrastructure in the Gambia, following the successful completion of the construction of the country's first ever standard onion curing and storage facility in Fonyi Berfet, West Coast region, and 4 others in other parts of the country. The United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, under the framework of the West African Competitiveness Program, WAPCOM, on Tuesday embarked on a day-long tour to the facility in Fonyi Berfet. In this project, over 600 farmers are expected to benefit from the transformative program nationwide, which is described as the leading onion production garden in the country. The Women Garden in Fonyi Berefet community in West Coast region is the first of several other communities in different regions currently applying advanced onion storage techniques through the UNIDO and WAPCON EU-sponsored project in the Gambia. Speaking to the media, Malamin Drame, UNIDO's value change expert, underscored the importance of such a facility on the lives and livelihoods of women farmers, adding that it will also enhance competitiveness and provide opportunity to sell their produce months after harvest at the right market value. Mr. Drame also outlined how boosting onion production is while urging modern techniques to help reduce importation of onions in the country.
So when we have many of these facilities in the Gambia, it can act as import substitution for the country. Because what we consume nationally goes up to 17,000 tons of onions annually. And our local production is below 5,000. So there's still a big gap, you see, and we can do a lot. And this is one of those activities that can help us to reduce the importation by increasing production and the preservation of the produce. This is one area that can help us achieve that.
Ramaturai Jigo, the Director of Horticultural Services at the Ministry of Agriculture, and Bakari Gassama, the Regional Agricultural Director for West Coast Region, both highlighted the need for the storage facility, while commending UNIDO and WAPCON. They also called on other women farmers in the country to emulate Fonyi Berefet's women farmers, while describing them as role models.
It was not a mistake. So UNIDO did not make a mistake choosing Berefet and construct this type of storage facilities at Berefet. Because as I say, Berefet is termed as a champion in the entire country. Not only West Coast, but Berefet is termed as a champion in the entire country.
In that regard, they are trying to throw light to the community, especially to the policy and the private sector, that we can develop our onion sector if we are ready to reduce the post-harvest loss and enhance quality market and competitiveness within the local community. Once again, we want to thank you on behalf of the Department of Agriculture and the Minister of Agriculture, and on behalf of the community, the farmers, that this thing will go a long way in trying to enhance our onion production.
For her part, the president of the Women Gardeners Association of Fonyi Berefet, Karafanding Jaju, said the construction of the edifice brought a lifelong impact in the community and has transformed their lives and increased their production. We are thankful to UNIDO and WACOM for these life-changing opportunities, and as a community, we are known for only one source of income, and that is farming. We have struggled for many years, but thanks to their support, we are now able to produce in all year-round production. Unlike before, we are now don't worry about temperature or where to store our produce, which results in selling at a lower price. So we are really grateful. Most households in the Gambia consume onions as part of their diet on a daily basis, amounting to over 33% of vegetables consumed daily, and a frequent increase in the price of food commodities. However, with this facility, hopes are high that it will contribute in boosting local production, thereby reducing costs and importation of onions in the country. Aissatou Koli for Gttv News. A senior official of the United Democratic Party, Lamin Mane, has charged the borough government, alleging that the government is causing more burden on Gambians than good. Dr. Mane was speaking to Gambian Talent's weekly flagship program, Amijaro Reports.
The tough-talking opposition figure Lamin Mane of the main opposition United Democratic Party launched an all-attack on Barrow's government for what he described as a failed government. He charged that Gambians will not allow any government to drive them back to dictatorship, while citing that Gambians stood hard to end Jammeh's 22 years of iron-fist dictatorship.
The intention is to intimidate, to provoke, and to make everybody cow down so they can go live there. However, that's not going to happen. We cannot be impressed. We cannot be intimidated. We are beyond that. And the Gambian people are beyond that. We fought 22 years of a dictatorship to be free, to run our country the way we want to. We will not let anybody, and I mean anybody, take us back where we came from. That's not going to happen. They want to kill all the Gambians in prison. Let them try. But we're going to fight back. Boy, we're going to fight.
The top Indian-turned politician also dismissed presidential advisor Mohammad Savali's youths are happy campaign without mentioning the letter's name.
When you go to hospital and you can't get medical treatment, you think we are happy. When you see the government give $60 million to themselves, to if they fall sick, they go get medical treatment outside. Last year it was 40 million. So last year and this year, $100 million. If you fall sick, you go get treatment outside. When the average Gambian cannot pay the $100 they need to go to hospital. You think we are happy? You think when you have to travel out of this country and you have to pay $20 or euros at the airport, you are happy? You think that so gain a fee, you motor them anywhere. Harassment being out between the drivers and the police and everybody. And I quicken to add that policy, so I always qualify that. It's a minority. The majority of our police officers are decent people. But we have a rogue group amongst them who we have to call out. So if you live in Wako and you fight, those people need to be called out. So if you make a and you see a minister drive by in a V8 car, spending $20 to $40 million a month. Sorry, $20 to $40 million. No, $1,000 is not million. $20 to $40,000 a month on fuel alone. Fuel for that car, a V8 car. You will spend anywhere between $20 to $40,000 a month on fuel. We're not talking of maintenance. We're not talking of the drivers. We're not talking of you think we are happy?
He said Gambians are faced with enough challenges under the Barrow's government than before. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Amijalo.
Gambia Inspector General of Police, Sidi Mokhtar Toure, is in New York City for the United Nations Chiefs of Police Summit 2024. The summit is being held under the theme Preventing Conflict and Violence and Sustaining Peace. Amadou Laminjo brings us up to speed on that story.
As part of his official engagements, the Gambia IGP Sidi Mokhtar Toure met the United Nations Police Advisor Commissioner Faisal Sanka in his office at the UN headquarters on Monday. Commissioner Sanka thanked the IGP for his attendance and commended him for the competent and professional police officers serving in various UN peacekeeping missions and UN headquarters. He reaffirmed his commitment to continue working with the Gambia for maintenance of world peace. The IGP thanked him for the meeting and invited him to visit the Gambia. The IGP reassured him that the Gambia is committed to the UN goal of maintaining a peaceful and a secured world. On Monday, 24 June 2024, the IGP met the Chief Selection and Recruitment Section UN Police Division. Mr. Indigan thanked the IGP for the impressive performance of Gambian peacekeepers. Meanwhile, the IGP assured Mr. Yengun that the Gambia Police Force is ready to continue partnering with the UN for global peace. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Modlamin Job.
From that story by Modlamin Job will lead us to our first break. When we come back, we look at News Beyond Our Borders. Stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you've been reminded that you're still watching Gttv News. Now let's shift our attention to News Beyond Our Borders. After a years-long legal saga, WikiLeaks says that founder Julian Assange has left UK after reaching a deal with US authorities that will see him plead guilty to criminal charges and go free. Mr. Assange, 52, was charged with conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information for years. The US has urged that WikiLeaks files which disclose information about the Iraq and Afghanistan war. More on this report.
For the last 5 years, he has fought extradition to the US from a British prison. Mr. Assange also faced separate charges of rape and sexual assault in Sweden, which he denied. He spent 7 years hiding in Ecuador's London embassy, claiming the Swedish case would lead him to be sent to US. Swedish authorities dropped the case in 2019 and said that too much time had passed since the original complainant. But UK authorities later took him into custody. He was tried for not surrendering to the courts to be extradited to Sweden. According to CBS, the BBC's US partner, Mr. Assange will spend no more time in US custody and will receive credit for the time spent incarcerated in the UK. Assange will return to Australia, according to a letter from the Justice Department. On X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, WikiLeaks said that Mr. Assange left Belmarsh prison on Monday after 1,901 days in a small cell. He was then released at Stansted Airport during the afternoon, where he boarded a plane and departed the UK to return to Australia, the statement added. Videos shared online by WikiLeaks appeared to show Mr. Assange dressed in jeans and a blue shirt, being driven to Stansted before boarding an aircraft. U.S. prosecutors had originally wanted to try the WikiLeaks founders on 18 counts, mostly under the Espionage Act, over the release of confidential U.S. records and diplomatic messages related to the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. WikiLeaks, which Mr. Assange founded in 2006, claims to have published over 10 million documents in what the U.S. government later described as one of the largest compromises of classified information in the history of the United States. In 2010, the website published a video from a U.S. military helicopter which showed more than a dozen Iraqi civilians, including 2 Reuters news reporters, being killed in Baghdad. One of Mr. Assange's most well-known collaborators, U.S. Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning, was sentenced to 35 years in prison before the then-President Barack Obama commuted her sentence in 2017. Even amid long-running legal battles, Mr. Assange has rarely been seen in public and for years has reportedly suffered from poor health, including a small stroke in prison in 2021. Farmata Sise reporting for Gttv News.
The International Criminal Court, ICC, has issued an arrest warrant for Russia's former defense minister and the chief of general staff. The ICC judges said the 2 men were suspected of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity during the war in Ukraine.
The court said there were grounds to believe that Mr. Shoigu and Mr. Gerasimov were individual criminals responsible for attacks on civilian targets between October 2022 and March 2023. They are accused of ordering the assault of failing to control the force under their demand. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said the ICC's decision was a clear indication that justice for Russia's crimes against Ukraine is inevitable, adding that every criminal involved in the planning and execution of these strikes must know that justice will be served, and we do hope to see them behind bars. Russia's Secretary Chancellor said the ICC arrest warrant against Mr. Shoigu was insignificant and part of the hybrid war against Moscow. Mr. Shoigu, a long-standing ally of Russia's President Vladimir Putin, was removed as a defense minister last month, a post he has led since 2012. He is now a secretary of the Security Council. Mr. Putin himself has been wanted by the ICC since March 2023. The court alleged he was responsible for war crimes, forcing its claims on the unlawful deportation of children from Ukraine to Russia. A warrant was also issued for the arrest of Mr. Putin's presidential commissioner for children's rights, Maria Lvova-Belova. Not much else came for the move since the ICC has no power to arrest suspects and can only exercise jurisdiction within its members' country, and Russia is not one of them. However, the ruling has perhaps created trouble for Mr. Putin. Since it was issued, the Russian president has avoided visiting countries that are signatories to the ICC. Ukraine is not a member of the ICC either, but it has accepted the court jurisdiction over alleged crimes committed on its territory since November 2013. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Abinyas.
That's it from us in our studios, but before we take a leave of you, here are the top stories once again. President Adama Barrow has discussed key areas with the Spanish foreign minister, who paid a courtesy call on him at the State House in Banjul. UNIDO and WAPCOM officials on Tuesday visited women gardeners in Fonyi to get first-hand information aimed at attaining food self-sufficiency. A senior official of the main opposition, United Democratic Party, has reaped into the Barrow leadership a failure while assuring that his party will unseat him in the upcoming 2026 presidential elections. Trouble for two Russian top army officers as the World Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for them over crimes against humanity. Well, that's it, and thank you for the company. From me, Aisa Tukuli, and the rest of our production team. Have a great night. Thank you very much.